Good morning, students. So, in the previous video, we were doing about the offline storage. That is, what are the things we can do with the Windows Phone. So, under that, we had seen about offline storage. Then we had seen about notification, under which we also spoke about the three different types of notifications. So, next we'll come to the next point, that is GPS. So in Windows Phone 7, we can also use. So previously we saw the things were about notification and offline storage. Other than that, the next point is about GPS, wherein we are saying that we can use the built-in features of the phone. That is, which is that built-in feature that is about geolocation sensors. Okay, so here what how we are going to use it, that is we are going to use a namespace, that is system.device.location. So using this system.device.location namespace and tracking the position changed, okay, event, for this purpose we are using geo coordinate watcher. So what is this we are going to do? A sample code is given to us. So what we are going to do in this is, our phone we are setting in a particular location in the sense latitude and longitude, and we are trying to track the other here the example they have given for us is about local derby team. Okay, they have named the team as Lansing Derby Visons. So that is a team name what they have given. So what they're telling is, we want to track the location or the distance from our device to the location where this derby team is placed. Okay, so for this purpose we are using the namespace, that is system.device.location, and we are using an event that is called as position changed. So the code of this event is given to you, and also that is geo coordinate watcher, that adds a button to your application through which you can tell the device's distance from the device and the point where that derby team is stored or placed. Okay, so the Windows Phone emulator has a great interface for using this GPS location. uh, what we are saying here is, you can also, when you're developing as well as debugging your app, along with that you can also perform this GPS location tracking. Okay, so what we are telling in this GPS, this is an additional feature that comes in your Windows Phone 7. So here what is happening is, the built-in feature of the device, that is geolocation sensors. We are speaking about the functionality of this geolocation sensors. Here they have given us an example wherein they are saying that a location we are setting here. Okay, so you can see here a map is given to us here. So here a point is given which is marked as 1. That is nothing but the location which we are setting. So we just have to go and click in this particular location, or physically if you're saying you're placing, or the derby team is there at this particular location, from this location till where your device is right now. So the distance between those 2 points we have to find. Okay, so for this we require namespace, and we are going to write a event or nothing but a method, that is position changed. Okay, so what's the next point they're saying? Windows Phone emulator has a great interface for using GPS location changes while developing and debugging your app. So you are developing and you're debugging your app simultaneously. You can also use this GPS location. Okay, so we'll just go to that program. So we have a code here for So we have a code given here that is for this GPS. That is nothing but what we are saying. Our Derby team is located in a particular position. What is that position that we are setting here? So you can see geo coordinate. So we said we are going to use geo coordinate watcher, using which we can find the distance. Okay. So here, first of all, what we are doing here is we are setting the latitude as well as longitude. So that value, anything you can give here. What is this value? This value is what we are setting. That is, previously when we were seeing in the slide, we saw that latitude and longitude, at which place the Derby team is located right now. Okay, so that latitude and longitude you are setting, that is in the beginning. Then we are going to use the geo coordinate watcher, which is going to add a button into our application. Okay, so you can just click on that and you can find the distance. Then we are having method that is distance to Wisens, that we'll see later. But before that, we are going to see, this position changed. So what did we say when we spoke in the slide? When we saw in the slide, we said that we are going to use the event called as position change. So using this position change, we are able to track the location between the distance between the 2 points. Okay, so here uh, this particular event, that is distance to Wisens. So here what we are doing here is we are setting a threshold value. So maximum distance between the 2 points, we are setting it as 10 meters. Okay, so we have written it within the try block, that is if any exception is arise, that is for exception handling case. Okay, so the maximum distance between the 2 points is set to 10 meters. Okay, and we are using the geo coordinate watcher to check the distance. So what does this geo coordinator watcher do is, it is going to call the position changed event. Okay, and after that you can see the next line, what you are saying, you are starting the geo coordinate watcher. So what is his purpose? His purpose is to track the location. Okay, and find the distance. So the distance is found, or that is done here in this particular event, that is position change, that is geo coordinate. Any name you can give here. This is just, I have taken the screenshot of from the textbook, so the same event name is there. You can give any name you want. Okay, so here the event name is geo coordinate watcher, but the main thing here is position change. So here within the position change, what we are going to do here is we are setting. So first we already set the latitude and longitude for the team where your Derby team is located. That particular latitude and longitude we have set. So here what happens within this position changes, your phone or your cell phone currently it is in which particular location. Okay, or which particular position, that positions latitude and longitude is taken. Okay, and that is stored here in the variable that is current. Okay, so within this function what we're doing, we are getting the latitude and longitude of our cell phone. And after that what you're going to do, we have to calculate the distance, that is meters from Wisens. Wisens is nothing but your Derby team name. Okay, so we have they have saying that there is a local Derby team. So we are going to calculate the distance between where that team is located right now and where your cell phone is there right now. So maximum threshold value we have set to 10 meters. Okay, so here current is nothing but where your cell phone is there right now. We are calling the function get distance to, and what is the value you are passing, or the parameter you are passing? The parameter you are passing is Derby Wisens location. That is nothing but what you are doing, your current location. Current is nothing but where your cell phone is there, and Derby Wisens location is nothing but where your team is present right now. That value you already initialized in the beginning. So that value is sent to this get distance event. So it is going to calculate the distance between the 2 points, and then you're going to display here. So message dot show is nothing but you're just displaying the distance between the 2 points. Okay, so string dot format, here you are telling what is the distance in terms of meters. from Lansing Derby Weissens, that is nothing but your Derby team. Okay, from your current position where your cell phone is there, and the team, the distance is displayed here. So here meters from Weissens is nothing but the value. So what is that value? Suppose if it is in 5 meter distance, so that is nothing but that value will be stored in meters from Weissens. And finally you're going to stop your geo coordinate watcher. That is, we are using this geo coordinate watcher to track the location, right? So we have got the distance between the 2 points. So finally you're going to stop it, and also you're going to dispose, that is, in the sense any resource was allocated, that will be freed, and you're making it to null. So this is about your GPS. Okay, so under GPS what you're saying, that is nothing but geolocation sensors are there in your device. For this we are using the namespace, that is system device dot location, and we are also using event called as position change event, and along with that we are using geo coordinate watcher, using which it is possible for us to what tell the distance between the two positions or points. Okay, so next, again we'll get back to the slide. Next, after GPS, the next one you have is accelerometer. So this accelerometer is also an additional feature that is there in Windows 7 along with the GPS. Okay. So accelerometer, in simple way, you again this also you can say as what, suppose you have done some movement in your phone. Okay, so your phone is placed in a plain surface or a flat surface, you assume. Now you're just moved your phone, either tilted or that. So that movement can be tracked or captured. So that is a task that is done by your accelerometer. Okay, so this accelerometer can report the direction as well as the magnitude, if any, how much of movement has been happened. Or in simple words, it is used to track the movement of your device. Okay, so how it is going to track? That is, it is using event called as reading changed. Okay, so previously it was position, now it is reading change event on your accelerometer. Okay, so here even this accelerometer, we are using the emulator, which is providing a 3D interface of simulating this accelerometer, whatever change has happened. Okay, so here, along with this, we said we are using an event called as reading change. Along with that, we also need to have a delegate to call, that is for synchronization, that is delegate we use to call back to the user interface thread. So I hope you know the concept of thread. That is a basic unit of execution, you can say. So here we have a user, that is UI, that is a user interface thread, and also we'll be having the system related or kernel threads also we'll be having. Here we are speaking about user thread. Okay, so we need to delegate to call back to the user thread if you want to display anything special based on the event. So some movement you have done or some change you have done in the position, that change has to be displayed. Okay, so in that case we have to again go back to the user interface thread, which is going to do this task for us. Okay, so if the application can access the user interface thread, the reading change event handler will call the delegate function, otherwise it will dispatch the event on the user interface thread. So overall what we are saying, any movement that has happened, that is, it can be either in x, y or z direction, that is in 3 dimensions, that movement will be captured and it will be displayed or it will be told to us by this accelerometer. Okay, here what happens is, here we are using an event called as reading change event, using which we can track the changes. And along with that, we have, if you want the information to be displayed, we have to call back the user interface thread who is going to do this task for us. Okay, so one more point what we can say, we should make sure that when we are done with capturing all the data, Here capturing all the data means we can say that your movement, whatever has happened, that you have got all those information related to that. So once that is done, then you must stop the accelerometer. So this should be done to preserve our battery life. Okay, otherwise simply we will be using the battery. So to avoid that, once it is done, once you have completed the capturing of data, then you need to stop the accelerometer. Again, for this also we have a code. I'll just go back to the Word document. Here you can see. Here we have the code related to the accelerometer. So here, first of all, you are going to load the accelerometer. So here for this class, you have created the object that is ACC. Then we said that we are going to use an event called as reading change. That is what we are going to call here. Then along with that, you have to start the accelerometer. Okay, that is ACC dot star is nothing but we are starting the accelerometer. So accelerometer is nothing but an additional function that is there in your Windows Phone 7, that is used to track any movement that has happened. Okay, and we also require the delegate. So delegate is for what purpose? If you want to display the data or any information, important information, then you need to transfer those content, or you want to send the control to the user interface thread. So that is a task done by the delegate. Okay, along with that you have other function that is here text update. That is nothing but any updation that has been happened, that is your phone has been moved from position X to Y. That updation this you need to do, then this particular function that is text update can be called. Okay, so now we'll just see what is there in reading change. So we said we are using the method that is reading change. We'll see what is there in this reading change. So here you have the event called as on accelerometer reading change. So in this reading change, you're passing the parameter, that is two parameters you're sending. Sorry, two parameters you are passing, that is about the argument for reading as well as the sender. Okay, so here this thing you just check out this part. So here you can see, here we said that accelerometer is going to display the movement that has happened in three dimension, that is in x, y as well as z plane. Okay, so here you are passing those value, that is x is nothing but your horizontal direction, y is representing the vertical direction, and z is representing the perpendicular to the plane, that is your x, y and z. Okay, and the arguments here, and the range of this x, y and z lies between -2 to 2. So this value you can give. Then if axis dot that is your accelerometer dot text check axis. Okay, so if any changes has happened, then you need to update that text that has been done here. Okay, so that is the thing here. Else what you're going to do, the original one, that is the initial one, what value you have, that is been updated. So once the information is been displayed, that means your data transfer has been completed. Your data complete is nothing but inside this function or the event, what you're going to write, you're just going to stop the accelerometer. So once you have completed the transforming of information or text, that is nothing but you're going to just send the data, that moment, this moment has happened. Then after that you're going to call the accelerometer complete, which is going to stop your accelerometer. Okay, so that is about your accelerometer, which is an additional feature which is there in your Windows phone along with your GPS. Okay, here what we are going to do, we are using the event called as reading change. So reading change event, what does it do? It is within this you're going to give the parameter, or you're going to specify the three dimension value of x, y and z. So any modification has happened, then that should be updated. For that we are using the method that is text update. Okay, updated in the sense that information will be displayed. So that is about your accelerometer. Next one, next we will come to web service. So this is a last one under this topic, that is web services. So nothing much to say in this, just a small part. So Derby application you saw, wherein we showed the distance between the local Derby team as well as your cell phone. So using this, we can that is we can leverage the data over the web to add value to your application. So what we are saying, we can use the data over the web to add some value to your application. So if you don't want to be the central point wherein all the data is stored, or if you don't want to be the central repository for all the data exposed to your user, that is, you are going to have all the information, and from you the data will be sent to all the user. If you don't want that responsibility, then you can just forward that duty to the web services, any third party web services. You can forward it to them, and they will be taking the responsibility of becoming the central repository. Okay, so that is about the web services, which comes under the topic that is useful things what can be done with Windows phone. That's a topic. Okay, next we'll go to the next point, that is about building application, that is building a Derby app in Windows 7. So building the Derby app in Windows phone 7. So under this we are going to see some points, that is creating the project, user interface, Derby names and leaks. So here Derby, that is nothing but the local team. They're speaking about the local team. Okay, so here building an Derby app in Windows 7. Here we are going to implement the features of Derby names project using Microsoft Visual Studio. Okay, so here first of all the first step is creating the project. So we are going to open Visual Studio, and here we are going to create a new Windows Phone project. Okay, so just go to Visual Studio and click on new project. That is nothing but this window will be present. For this application we are choosing, here you can see, first here new project you have selected. After this you have to select, or here in this particular example it is Windows Phone Panorama application. So here we are selecting the Panorama because it offers an user interface in which you can share your data. Okay, so what we are doing in creating the project, the first step is open the Visual Studio, create a new Windows Phone project, and then go to Panorama. So Panorama, the advantage of using this is it offers user interface, and along with that we can also share the data. Okay, so once we have created the application, the next point you can see here, this is a solution window. Okay, the next point here is a solution window. So here you can see in this Panorama application, the application is created with the default Panorama background. Okay, so that is the default background will be there. So Visual Studio will create sample data as well as view models for your application. So you can see here in the Solution Explorer, you have a folder called as sample data, and you also have a folder called as view model. So this will Visual Studio is going to create this for your application. So after this you will be able to remove this later on. Later if you want, you can remove this from your application when you implement your service communication. Okay, so that is about the Solution Explorer. Now we'll see about the files. So you can see here we have a file called as app.xaml. So this is the entry point for your application. Okay, and one more, you have main page.xaml is the page that loads by default. Okay, So app.xaml is the entry point for application, and main page is nothing but the page that is a default page. Okay, it's like your home page is a page that will load by default. Other than that, you have application icon dot here it is JPEG, so it can be PNG also, any icon. Okay, so application icon, what is this? So you might have come across some situation wherein some error message might be displayed. Just an example, a pop-up message or a notification. Previously we spoke about the toast notification. So when that notification is displayed, along with that we might have some icon like exclamatory symbol or cross mark, that is red color cross mark. All those we can do it. So for that purpose we require this application icon. So if you want such things to be displayed, then you can keep it in this application icon. Okay, next you have the splash screen image. So is a default image that shows when your app is loading. So that is your splash screen image. That is the icon or the image, that is when you're loading your application, that image will be low there. Okay, next one you have is panorama background. Here you can see panorama background dot jpeg. So this is a default background that is created for the panorama apps. So this is a default one, so you can see here in blue color it is there. So that is a default background that is created by panorama apps. Okay, so that is all about creating a project. So under creating a project, you have to tell we are using Visual Studio, and you're going to new, and you're going to create a new project. After that, go to Panorama. So advantage of Panorama is, along with user interface, it also allows you to share the data. Okay. Once after you tell this much, then you come to the Solution Explorer, wherein you're going to speak about some of the files that is present here. So two, that is sample data and view file that is created by the Visual Studio, which later on you can delete it if you want. Then app.xml, that is the entry point, you can say. Main page, that is your home page, or you can say page that loads by default. And application icon, that is nothing but if you have any message or if you have any notification to be displayed, that is toast notification. So along with that notification, an icon can be placed. That is nothing but you can store it in application icon. Similarly, splash screen dot jpeg, that is nothing but the image that shows when your app is loading. And finally you have the panorama background, that is a default background which is created by the panorama app. So this is all what you have to say for creating the project. Okay, next one you have is user interface. So the default panorama application defines its data context. So we have the data context here, which is there in the XML. So this data context, can see over here, data context, design data, sample, main, model view, sample data dot xml. So the data context has the first items binding associated by default. So by default you will be having the first item that will be bound. So that you can see in this figure here, you're having here. So this is your XML. So the panorama control can be like to that is any collection based user interface element, like how in Android we saw that list view, all those things that can be likened, or you can also say connected. And panorama items are the respective rows in that collection items. So there how we had a list view and all, here also we can have panorama, and within that you can have items. Okay, that is panorama items which are having rows in the collection element. So whenever we feel that is we can start working with the data, then you need to create the service reference to this. We require the service reference, that is which enables you to expose our data resources that are addressed. So we are passing some URI, and in that URI whatever resource is there, that data from that resource can be exposed. For that we require what is called as OData. Okay, So that we are going to see in the next point that comes under OData. Okay, so you can say this is nothing but this is called as open data protocol. So open data protocol is nothing but it enables us to show our data resource that are addressed by the URI. So you're to in the URL you're passing some URI in that particular location, whatever data you have, that can be exposed to the user. Okay, so that is what comes under your Derby names. In that first one you have is OData, that is open data protocol. So to bind your panorama item you need to set the item source as well as text block binding. So all those things again we have a code, we'll see that. So each individual entry in the Derby name entity in your here you can see here Derby name entity is there here. Okay, so for each of them there will be a separate entries. It contains property of name and league. Okay, which we are going to bind to the text blocks in panorama item. So we'll see what is that. So we are going to connect, or we are going to add the names of the team and also which league they are going to participate. So for that we'll just see the code now. Stop here. So in the okay, so this is about your open data protocol, which will allow us to show or display our data resource that is when you are giving the URI, that particular URI, whatever data you have. So here what is that location URI, that is HTTP localhost Derby names, so this particular location. Okay, and along with that if you want you can give some title and any updation is there when it was updated. So here updated was this particular time, the data was updated at this particular location. Author if you want you can write, name if you want you can write. Okay, so all the information are written inside a tag called as entry. Okay, other than that you are also telling. Okay, so other than that this is. So we are also telling the term Derby name. We are also setting the name as well as the scheme. Then the content type, here it is application, and what are the properties for the team. So the properties for the team include ID, it include name, number, and when it was added. So all this information you have to write. So in the exam at least one or two you remember. Okay, these are optional. Author name if you're not writing also it is fine. ID you write, title also if you're not giving it is okay. Then link you have to write. So link is nothing but it specifies the links between the current document as well as the link document, wherein you are telling the title to whom you have to link and also the referencing here. Okay, then the properties which are date added, and also the next one is the league, in the league in which that particular team will be participating, that information also. Then you're closing the property. So all these comes under your properties and content, and finally you're closing your entry. Okay, so that is about your O data. Next one you have is panorama. Next one you have is panorama item. So in this panorama item, the additional one what we are going to use is the code is same as what you have written for the first part, but here additional thing what we are going to use is we are going to use the list box and the item source. Okay, so that is the additional one what we are going to see here. So here in this particular case, that is item source of the list box. can be marked as binding container. So addition 1, remember about this list box. Give some name. Here we have given the name as Derby name list. Okay, and item source. And this is nothing but what is this is how you want it to be displayed. So I'll just show you in the PPT. It is there how the panorama item is displayed. So for that you're setting the margin, that is x axis, y axis, that margin you're setting. Then again template, the data template, all these are some number you can give here. It need not be the same value. Okay, that is just the alignment, how it should be displayed in the device. Okay, and text block here, binding name you are giving, and also we are giving the binding league. So here by item source, where whatever you are passing here, that is binding. So it will have the name as well as in the league which that team is participating. So we'll just see that with an example. So can just see here. So this is what the binding that is happening. So list boxes are there. So list boxes in which you're going to have the information will be ready to bound, and that you can load the contents from that. So for this we are using the data services that is provided by Microsoft. So using that, here you can see here we are using the service that is data service collection. Okay, and after that you are passing the object here. So this particular service, it holds the dynamic entities which need to be bound from the web service. Okay, and after that you're also passing which is the item source. So the item source here is the Derby name collection, so in which you're going to have the different names. We are going to have the names of the different teams. Okay, and you're going to load the names here, and this is nothing but your you're querying your names, that is which name you want to find, that will be done here. And after that all the information will be displayed in the URI whatever you have given. So this is about your panorama. Okay, and next one you have is the league. So each Derby team will be belonging to a league. That is how a league match will be there. So in that every team will be belonging to league. The entity of the league is similar to what we have seen for Derby names. So how we have written this here, the starting part everything is same, but only thing difference is here instead of Derby name we will give here league name. Okay, league ID, league name, only that is addition one. And after that if you want you can write the country name, state, all those they are optional one, you can write those if you want. And these are also same whatever you have seen in the previous one for Derby, that is for team whatever you have written. In the previous one you just wrote as binding, but here instead of binding you are writing binding league name. Okay, that league is the additional one what we are writing in this particular code, that is for league. And the last thing is the same function what we have seen for team name. Here it is load leaks. Okay, here it is load leaks. It's not here it is load leaks. So there also you had seen data service collection. Here only this difference, here we are writing as league, there we are written as Derby. And everywhere there it was Derby collection, here it is Derby league collection. Okay, rest everything is same as the previous code. And finally you're going to write the URI. Okay, so this is about your building Windows building a Derby app in Windows Phone 7. Okay, last one small point is left out that will complete in the next class. Thank you all.